The only thing I really didn't like about this SigCon, which kind of worries me, is the skill stuff. And I don't think it has a place in Star Citizen, even if they do it like Tarko. Tarko skill system has a lot of issues, and I don't trust CIG to fix them shortly. So yeah,
I guess that's fair. I have no issue with that. I think people are overreacting, and I do think, to comment on your comment, it doesn't have a place in Star Citizen. I don't think anybody knows what Star Citizen is to be able to make a comment like that. They've sold it in 13,000 different ways to everybody to make everybody feel like Star Citizen's for them. And
that's true.
This is just another situation where you thought it was one thing, but it never was in the first place.
But they made it clear though that this kind of stuff wouldn't be a thing, but they also said it for eating, and then they changed it. But the reason
they've done this 20 times.
The reason I didn't like is that, first of all, it shows feature creep is still a thing.
Sure.
They're still adding new features they never mentioned. And the other issue I have with it, you talked about it in the podcast with Burks. Is that let's say you have two pilots with the same skill, the same ships. The one who has played more will have better G-force resistance and will have an advantage just because he played the game longer. And this is a similar issue you get in Tarko, because I joined the game mid-wipe. Not only my opponents have better gear, they also have better skills. And when you're maxed out on skills in Tarko, it's like you're playing a different game. It's like I'm playing real war, real sim.
Sure. The reason I want to stop you is because the comparisons to Tarkov are not fair. In one way in particular, Tarkov still has not found a way to balance long-term gameplay. They absolutely need their wipes in order to keep the game going. People are hitting max skills too quickly, or it's not a situation where I believe if you don't use the skill, you do start to lose it. Is that correct? I'm not sure. But if you watch the podcast, Richard Tyrer also mentioned that the skill will be based on skill loss will be based on death of a spaceman mechanics. So
sure.
I think it's hard. It's hard to make that comparison. Yes. Are we getting passive attributes that are going up? This is in literally every MMORPG that I've ever played. You're gaining skill for mining, but while you're gaining skill for mining, you're also gaining strength skill. And the attributes that you have are not the thing that decides whether you live or die in a fight. It's the skills and player skill. So it's just adding depth to it. But I'm not discrediting anything you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, and I don't even disagree with it. But it's I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be.
Sure, it's too soon to tell. Like, they didn't even give us that many information. Yeah. I just have a bad aftertaste in my mouth, because in my opinion, if you have a new player and a player that has been playing the game for hundreds of hours, there is already a gap between them, because one guy has nothing and the other guy has
that argument makes no sense. Like, of course that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and that is normal. But the problem is, when on top of this you also add skills, so the gap is even wider. Because theoretically speaking, let's say I play Tarko, okay? I kill a guy which has the best gear in the game. Even with the best gear, he has better skills than me. And the same thing could happen in Star Citizen. Maybe I joined the game.
Exactly.
I'm the best pilot. And is that a good thing for you? Like, with
think
the
about
same
what
gear,
you just said.
The same skills.
Would you consider ships a gear? Would you consider ships gear? Because I would.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So people who can buy ships on the website now don't have the advantage that they had before for players who play every day and play really hard. It may be widening the gap in some places, but it is certainly possibly shortening the gap in others. Think about that too. There's give and take in every situation, and I think that is definitely an attempt to go. People who play the game often are going to have some advantages over others because, well, guess what? They play the game a lot. And I hear a lot of people who go, I don't have enough time. I keep hearing that stuff to play an MMO. Guess what? Too fucking bad. Like, this is how these games work. And you bought a game and had no idea that what you were getting into.
I don't know, like that is also based on the assumption that people who buy a lot of stuff on the store don't also play the game a lot. Because if you combine the two,
of course,
then someone who just is good at the game but doesn't play a lot, it doesn't spend money, as I said, the gap will always be there.
Yeah.
But with skills, since it's time based, it's widened, and
it's not time based. It's not just time based. Death of a Spaceman plays into it. Again, they should have never, if we want to talk about the skills thing, they should have never spoken about it. It should have been a very clear and concise panel like all the other ones, where a lot of the questions people could have had were answered. Because all that happened here is you had two clowns putting on clown makeup on live on camera and just derailing the entire conversation around the game. It was so fucking stupid. I can't even describe how dumb that was. And because now I'm just reading Twitch chat and everybody is speculating.
Yeah, there is too much speculation.
There's too much. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm speculating, you're speculating. It doesn't mean anything until they tell us how it works.
Yeah, but it's still, like, as I said, I didn't like it, but if they plan on doing it, at least it's nice that they said it so that we can speculate and they can hopefully read our thoughts and maybe steer the direction they have internally based on what the community talks about, and hopefully in the future also give us more information about them.